you trying to do for real? For real.
Cosmic psychedelic funk is what I came to do. Yep. Hi. I'm soul by funky. Hey. Soul by funky. Hi. I'm soul by cosmic soul.
What's going on, everybody? Yours truly, Takara Nicole. Super excited for another episode of the Authors Authority Lounge, which is the official TV show for authors. So I am so honored to introduce to you guys this amazing author. He's my pastor, man. It's so cool. So Pastor Clifton Hobbs III, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So for those who have no clue of who you are, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, goodness. A little bit about me.
In 20 seconds or less. I'm
20
kidding.
seconds. Well, I am a preacher. No, so Clifton Hobbs III, I was born and raised here in Omaha, Bellevue, Nebraska, with the exception of 1 year. There was 1 year that we moved to Des Moines, but then came back.
You missed it so much. You just had to come back.
Something like that. But I have been pastoring a wonderful church called the Glory Tabernacle.
Church!
And we have been pastoring, it'll be 14 years, I think, this year.
Wow.
I'm also a licensed mental health practitioner. And so I have my own private practice called You Reimagined right here in Bellevue. And also I have an office in Lincoln as well. So doing a lot, but yeah.
So what made you think about authorship? Like, when did you actually have the idea maybe introduced to you, but maybe you sat on it? Because that's what a lot of people do. It's pretty common. Like, because when we think about writing a book, we're like, that's for like the big wigs out there. Yeah. And so many people believe that myth, and it's so not true.
For me, it was probably several years ago. There's a book that I have been wanting to write. I'm not going to say the title. But
yes, very, very smart.
There's a book I've been wanting to write for many, many years, and I kept talking myself out of it. I still keep talking myself out of it. But I think at some point, probably next year, I'll start writing that one. But honestly, I had kind of tabled some things until really when I met you.
Oh, wow.
And so you just kept pushing me to write something, but then that's how we ended up with the first book that we wrote. And then, it's kind of blossomed, and I found that I actually kind of like it. And that's the thing with a lot of people, you know, we get into writing and then we find out, heck, this is kind of addicting. And especially when you get the feedback from people that sometimes you expect feedback from certain people, and then from people that you have no clue of who they are. And they're like, hey, let me tell you about chapter such and such. And you're like, whoa, you actually read the book. Right.
Because in this day and age, some people, they say that they read, but they browse. They really don't read from like cover to cover. And so when you get people who actually say, oh my God, your book was amazing, it allows for you to be very appreciative that you said yes to the process. And, you know, with all the technology that's out here in the world today, there's so many different ways to write books. So let's back up for a second, because you said something that's very important too. So you're a therapist. How can you see book writing or journaling being like a tool for those who you might serve?
Really, I guess I can answer it how it works for me therapeutically. A lot of times we don't always have the words or the ability to articulate what we feel or what we're thinking.
For sure.
Verbally.
Right.
Or audibly, I guess.
Yeah.
And so many times, and this is so true even in sessions, I'll, like if I'm talking with a teenager who's trying to find a way to communicate with their parents, but it always turns into a fight. And I'll say, write them a letter.
Oh, that's good.
You know, because sometimes and especially, you know, if we're writing a letter on a laptop or a computer, we have the ability to backspace instead of erase.
Yeah.
And so as you're writing it out, it actually causes you to think even more about what you're trying to say.
That's good.
And in a way, I don't want to get too deep into this, but in a way it also it allows you to release the emotion without letting the emotions dictate what you're saying.
That's deep. I mean, because think about people who there's a method to my madness. There's a reason why I asked you this question. Because there's a lot of people who have the ideas in their head on how they can see themselves becoming an author, but they get stuck. And so, writing is still an amazing tool to be able to flush out some of those thoughts. And that's why I wanted you to share it from that therapeutic lens. So let's talk about childhood. Were you one that like read a lot of books growing up?
No.
No?
If I'm being real honest, I can tell you which books I've read because there were so few.
Oh God.
And maybe, so I'm probably undiagnosed ADHD, which I hear
I think
most,
I am too.
most people say, that's me.
For real.
But I could not sit and read a book to save my life unless it caught my attention right in the very beginning of the chapter.
Yeah.
So I can tell you in the 5th grade, I think it was, I read all of the Chronicles of Narnia.
What is
Because
that?
that's the Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Disney, I think Disney, made a couple of movies recently about them. But those were my favorite books in elementary school.
Wow. Yeah, I remember those now.
Yeah, and so I read those, and then it also helped that back then we had like a movie to go along with it. But that was probably my first, like read through a whole book kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I kept going. Outside of that, the only other book, and I know this is going to sound so cliche, but the only other book that I could read without stopping is the Bible. And that's just because every time I read it, I learn something new or get new revelation. This obviously, so I went all through high school, like we had to read stories and stuff, and I was very big on Cliff Notes.
Same. Same.
So when I got to college, though, I took this class. It was such an interesting class. It was the history of love and sex in advertising or something like that.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it was a big, and the first part of the class was we had to read these like love novels and then write papers on, how college is.
Yeah.
College, you become a professional paper writer.
Right, for sure.
So I remember this, I can't remember the name of the book, but I started reading this book and it was so dry for like the first, and it was set in World War II.
Oh.
And it was a fictional book, but it was just a love novel, but it took forever
To get to something that was like
get to something.
exciting.
Yes.
You're like,
And
God.
it was like all of this backstory and all, you know what I mean? And
It was the worst.
yeah, and I'm just like dragging my way through it, trying to read as much as I can before I go to bed at night.
Right.
And then finally we get somewhere in the middle of the book and I'm like, oh, plot twist, and like, then it just captured me. And I think maybe that's when I realized, now mind you, I went back to college when I was 30, so it's taken all those years to get to that point. And I realized like, if you keep reading, you might find that there's more to the story than what we originally kind of judge within our minds. So
That's good.
I can't say that. I mean, now I read books, and a lot of what I read is to help either my practice or as a pastor. But yeah, it's kind of developed over the years.
Over the years, yeah, no. My mom made me read every day.
Wow.
And I would lie a lot of times and say that I did it and didn't. Mom, I hope my mom's not watching this. 'Cause I just dropped the whole
She's
truth.
gonna be like, I know it.
She don't get that girl. Can't do nothing now. But yeah, my mom would make me read like 30 minutes a day. And
Good.
so yeah, she didn't play. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't go outside. I couldn't touch the game. I couldn't do anything until I read.
Yeah.
And so reading kind of just became a part of who I was. And then for me, I started writing at a very early age. Didn't realize that I was writing. Well, a lot of it was trash talk about my mom in my diary and how she treated me. And
It was therapeutic though.
it was very therapeutic. Then it turned into short stories. And then here we are,
Yeah.
But so sometimes people can, if we ask them the questions, they're like, oh, well, I kind of did find a love for books like early in my childhood or in college or something. And, as they're sitting there writing their book, they're thinking about all these I can't talk. I had a matcha frap and I'm like, all these situations where they found themselves where they're like, oh, I actually like writing books,
Yeah.
or I actually like reading books. But let's talk about lessons from Rephidim. Where did this idea come from, and what can people expect from this?
So lessons from Rephidim, really, and this is about the time when I think I met you. Lessons from Rephidim started as a one sermon that turned into, I think, 3 or 4 sermons. And so the full backstory is back in 2024, the beginning on New Year's Day, we lost my nephew. And then that was the start of like this, it felt like a domino effect, but we lost my nephew on January 1st, 2024. The very next week, my sister-in-law passed away. That same week, the oldest member of our ministry passed away, Mother Irene.
Yeah.
And then the following week, my wife lost her uncle. We had to go to that funeral. And then one of the oldest members of our church, she hadn't been there many years, but she was bedridden and she passed away. So we had 5 funerals in 6 weeks
Yeah.
to start 2024. And as you know, during that time, one of the lessons that I learned, I don't know that I necessarily put this in the book, but one of the lessons I learned was how to reconcile with our limitations as human beings.
Say that again.
That is, it is, I say this too in therapy a lot. The hardest lesson, one of the hardest lessons for us to learn as human beings is reconciling with our limitations.
Wow. Wow.
Because we are more limited than we like to really believe
Yeah.
and
Whoa.
realize. And so in that though, that was a season where the Lord had spoke to me and said, you're in a season of Rephidim, or in a place of Rephidim. Now, he didn't just come out and say that. I was actually reading the scripture. I forget why I was studying this. This is in the book of Exodus, I believe, when Moses brings the children of Israel out of Egypt. And they come to this low-lying desert place called Rephidim. And the word Rephidim means rest, but the place that they were in was this dry, low-level desert with no water, no present water, no life. And so in the absence of life is death.
Right.
And so the children of Israel complain because they're there and there's no water, and they're like, our livestock are going to die, and then we're going to die, and then, right? And so all of this stuff. And so Moses is, he goes to the Lord, and as Moses oftentimes does in this process, people will make you pray.
Yes, they will. Yes,
So-
and turn your plate too.
Yeah.
Come on.
So he goes to the Lord. Lord tells him, take the staff, strike the rock.
Yeah.
And then water flows from the rock. And so, and that's just one of the things that happens in Rephidim. But for me, it was not even so much just, like a Bible class or Bible teaching per se, as much as it was implementing that or translating that to real life.
Yeah.
I was in this low-lying desert place that was absent of life, and so we had death all around us.
Yeah.
And something remarkable happens in that. One, I come to terms with the fact that I'm limited because there were very few of those deaths that were preventable.
Right.
But
right.
even if I had done everything that I could have done,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It still would have. Yeah.
And so, so I come to terms with my limitations, but then also something else remarkable happens. And, you can read through the book to find out the rest, but the people, especially the church, came together in a way that was just remarkable. And you'll see that in Lessons from Rephidim, you're going to hear the mention of somebody who's going to become a very powerful figure in the Bible later on in the person of Joshua. But this is the first time we hear of Joshua. It was in the place of Rephidim.
So who would you say that your book is for? If people were in a state, then they should pick your book.
I would say the people who find themselves in, so when I say like this low-lying desert place, this is like a dry season, right?
Yeah.
What it feels like oftentimes is stagnation.
Mm.
Like I'm just stuck.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm cycling.
Right.
And for that person, one of the things that I say in the book that I allude to is up until Rephidim, God had fought all the battles for Israel.
Wow.
He sent the 10 plagues. He parted the Red Sea, took them over, and he blew a wind behind them to push them through. When Egypt comes through there, he crashes the water down on them. When they start in the wilderness, he sends manna in the morning, and then quail or meat in the evening for them to eat. And he basically does everything for them. When they get to Rephidim, it switches, and now it's, I want you to do some of this, and I'll provide the rest.
That's good.
And so it's a transitional period. And so when we go through that transition, oftentimes it does feel like we're stuck. It
Yeah.
feels like we're stagnant because we're so used to like God showing up and like, boom.
Saving the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm with you, but I'm
But
really
under,
like, yeah. But he goes into like this super father mode and like, I'm trying to teach you. And really a lot of it is, I don't know if we'll talk about the next book, but a lot of it is trying to help our mindset, because what we need is already in us. He's already put it in us.
Indeed.
And
We forget that when you're going through, that's the last thing that you're thinking about.
Absolutely.
You're not thinking about the wins. You're not thinking about what he's already put in you. You're so laser focused on what's going on right then.
Yeah.
That's it. So
yeah, and so he's just, it's
Wow.
like, I got to draw it out of you.
yeah.
But if you think about, Bishop Foster taught this many years ago, but it's like an envelope. And usually when we put stuff in an envelope, it's something valuable, money,
sure.
a check, something.
Right.
And so to get that out, you have to develop or develop to open it up and pull that out. And so that's where God has to, he allows us to go through Rephidims.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, it's really understanding, I don't have the time to break this down today, but it's understanding what the rest of God is.
That's powerful. And understanding that he gives us rest.
Right.
Man. So again, Lessons from Rephidim, a practical guide for navigating development in the wilderness. Where can people go find your book?
Very simple. It's my web address is cliftonhobbs3rd.com. So very simple. You can go there. You can purchase it. We actually just got our new shipment in. I know we released this book 2 weeks ago at our conference, and we sold out.
Yeah.
So I had to
Restock.
and so we just got it in yesterday, and so we have fresh new copies for people. And so it's available on the website, cliftonhobbs3rd.com. And it's right there. You can go in and click on it. We also have, I don't know if you wanted me to say this, but
please do.
We also have an ebook that is available. This is called the Book of Metaphors.
Yeah.
And these are just some metaphors that I use in therapy sessions as well as in sermons. They're just the way that I visualize certain things. So I guess one of those visuals is the gas pump. I think you've heard me talk. No?
No.
Okay. So I think the book might actually start with the gas pump. So oftentimes people will come to me and they're just worn out. They're running on empty.
Yeah. Literally.
And so I tell people that oftentimes the people who are running on empty are the people who are always pouring out to other people. Mm-hmm. And so to understand this, then when you take your car to the gas pump and you fill it up with gas, there's never a time when your car puts gas back into the pump, which means the pump is always greater than the car.
Whoa.
And so to prove that point, you could have, I don't know, what's the newest, you could have the newest SUV out there with all the bells and whistles, maybe one of those Jeep Grand Wagoneers or something.
Right.
$100,000 car, has all the bells and whistles and everything, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff is worthless if you don't take it to the pump. So,
Wow.
but understanding that the car then never puts gas back into the pump.
Right.
So when the pump is empty, the pump has to go to something greater than it to be refueled. And that's that 18-wheeler that comes in
And drops the
and
oil.
and drops the gasoline into the
That's
tank
powerful.
underneath. Now, the reason that that's important is because if we're always pouring into individuals,
Yeah.
then it's not very likely then that those individuals can pour back into you
Yeah.
the same way you poured into them,
Yeah.
because you're the pump.
Yeah.
And so you then have to go to something that's greater than you to be refueled.
How
And
many
so,
of us need that ebook? I need to go grab that one.
yeah, it's
And that's powerful. I mean, because you're right. I mean, I never thought of it that way. And then you have a new one coming out. We got minutes to talk about that too.
okay. The new one, I'm really excited about this one because this one is like fresh off the presses. I just taught an 8-week series called Renewed, The Emancipation of the Mind. And so that's what this book is called. And the book essentially is based off of the series that I taught. But the long and short of it is that I think in the opening statement, I said something to the effect of the systems of the world are discipling you whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And they're doing it through media, through culture, through comparison.
Yeah.
That's
the biggest one.
That's the biggest one. And so often, especially for believers, we claim or we state that we are kingdom citizens or that we're children of God, we're Christians, however we claim that, but we're still subscribing to a system that is not of God.
Yeah.
And so it drains us.
For sure.
It fatigues us.
Yeah.
It's all of those things. And so Renewed is a book about how to identify the systems of the world in your life, but then also to renew your mind. And so this comes from several years ago. I taught on Renewed, and then God brought me back to that again, which is where we are now. But this is how the Lord presented it to me. In Romans 12:2, it says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind."
Yeah.
And so the Lord asked me one time. He said, this was years ago when I first taught it. He said, all you preachers keep quoting the scripture, but have you ever told the people how to renew their mind?
Wow. Wow.
It kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was like,
Yeah, that would too. I mean, no, but you know what's so funny about God? Like, he'll ask you a question and he knows the answer. Like, why are you even asking me? You already know. Yeah, but anyways.
yeah. And so that has stuck with me over the years. So
Yep.
again, the first time I taught it, it wasn't nearly as in depth as the second time around.
Yeah.
And this obviously, there's been some years in between there because I taught it originally when I graduated with my master's degree and started working as a therapist. And that was 7 years ago. And so then when I come back around and do it now, obviously there's a whole lot more in that, and just more experience and knowledge and understanding. But I try to go into more in depth into how to actually have a renewed mind.
Which is needed, especially in these times. You said something that I want to come aside. You said that you started writing or writing the sermons or had the idea 7 years ago, and here it's coming all together now. Some people think that when they have these ideas about whether it's launching a business, writing a book, all the things, that they have to do it right then and there. And so for those of you who are out there and you have notebooks or, I don't want to take us back too far. I was about to say, a disc or something, a USB drive, a floppy disk, right? But if whatever you're sitting on, be very mindful that it may be time to launch that thing because you just never know who needs it.
And if nothing else, write it down.
Oh my God, yeah.
The Bible is very clear. Write the vision.
Make it
plain. And it even says, and I'm paraphrasing this, but it says, though it tarries, at the end it shall speak and it will not lie. So things, I think about David was anointed to be king when he was a young teenage boy,
Yeah.
but doesn't become king until he's in his 40s.
Right.
And so a lot of the things that I had envisioned myself doing I started preaching when I was 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of the things that I envisioned myself doing, I'm just now starting to tap into. And I thought it was going to happen when I was in my 20s.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
And that's the reality of the thing, but sometimes we feel like there's such an urgency to do it right now, and that's not it. How can people follow you? You have your own private practice. We have your website. Pour it on the people. How can we keep in touch with you?
You can keep in touch with me. Again, my website is cliftonhobbs3rd.com, or it might be cliftonhobbs3rd ministries.com. You can also Google that and find me. You can follow me at the church, through the church, the Glory Tabernacle Church. And that's theglorytabernacle.org. And then my practice is called You Reimagined Counseling Services. But again, if you Google my name, typically all of that stuff comes up.
Pops up.
I did record an album probably 15 years ago.
We got to have him back on the show for that, because he's a lyricist as well, which is another form of authorship, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
But he's a singer. Yes.
So you can find me. I think the music is still on Amazon Music.
It's out there.
Spotify. So. And I think we still have some copies in the basement, so we might have put that. We might have put that on the website as well.
There you go. You might as well.
So, but yeah, I'm out there. You can Google me, Psychology Today, if you need services. That's a pretty good place. You can just go in and type in my name, and it'll pull up all my information.
So he went from 1 book to 3 books, y'all. Yeah, I'm just saying. When it's your time, it's your turn. And so, well, we got about a minute or so left in the show. What's one thing that you would encourage those who want to start writing but just haven't felt that urge to start writing? What would you say to them?
I would say that it's kind of if you want to start writing, I feel like the urge is there. So maybe some of it is okay, real quick.
Go ahead.
Here's another metaphor that's in the book of metaphors, and that is the creation of motivation. Motivation is not something that comes to us just by us simply sitting there waiting for it to come.
Ooh.
If you're waiting for motivation to do things that you don't want to do, yet alone things that you do want to do, you're looking for a unicorn. You're never going to find it. So motivation is something that we create. We create that by movement. Our movement plus our momentum then equals motivation. So if we keep moving, like I'm almost out of time, but when I go to the gym every morning there's a negotiation in my head to stay in bed.
Right.
And so I know that if I just get up and I start moving and get ready, then I'm going to go. Right. But then when I go, I work out, I feel so much better.
That's good.
And that motivates me to come back the next day.
Yes.
And so that's what I would say to that person. Just start, you told me, start writing 15 minutes a day. And I started that. I wasn't always keeping to that, but I started that, and then now I'm here. Renewed will be released in July, and so yeah.
Well, that's it, y'all. Thanks for coming back to another episode of the Office Authority Lounge, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
What you trying to do for real? For real.
Cosmic psychedelic funk is what I came to do.